I will make sure she is fired.
The building was called Sterling Heights. 5th floors of glass, still and quiet ambition, rising over the city like a promise that only a few could touch. Inside it lived one of the largest organizations in the country, a company so vast that promotions were not scarce, yet never accidental. Everyone worked hard, everyone delivered results, but not everyone rose. In Sterling Heights, excellence opened the door, but favor decided who walked through it. Vivian had been on the 5th floor for 6 years. She was known for her work, precise reports, impossible deadlines met, calm solutions during crisis. Her name often appeared on performance dashboards, sometimes at the very top. No queries, no warnings, no failures. Yet, every promotion cycle passed her by. In that world, Temilade Adeyemi stood tall, young, single, brilliant. She had risen fast, too fast for her age, some said, but no one could deny her intelligence or influence. As part of the top management, her voice mattered. When she spoke in promotion reviews, decisions shifted. Temilade also carried a quiet longing. She had heard stories for years about the founder's only son, Collins Adebayo, educated abroad, reserved, untouchable, a man everyone talked about but few had seen. She imagined the day he would finally return to Nigeria, to the company, to her world. In her mind, she had already chosen herself as the wife of Collins Adebayo. Around the office, subordinates called her Mama. Yes, ma. Thank you, ma. Please, ma. You look good, ma. They carried her handbag whenever she steps into the office, saved her parking space, anticipated her moods. Vivian did none of that. Not because she was proud, not because she was rude. She greeted properly. She spoke respectfully. She did her job. Nothing more, nothing less. No eye service, no performance of loyalty. And that was the problem. During promotion reviews, whenever Vivian's name came up, Temilade would smile politely and say,
She's good, yes, but I think someone else might be more suitable.
Another name would be suggested. That person coincidentally also deserved it. So management approved the alternative. No rules were broken, no lies were told. Vivian was simply excluded. This went on for 3 years. The morning Collins returned to Nigeria. The city was wet with rain. Traffic crowd, horns blurred, umbrellas battled the wind. As Collins' car slowed near a busy intersection, he noticed something unusual. A young woman had stepped off the pavement. Rain soaked her hair and dress. An elderly man sat dangerously close to the road, drenched, confused, frozen. The woman ran to him. Sir, please, let's move, she said gently, shielding him with her umbrella. She waved down a car. Collins stopped. Before his driver could speak, he was already out. Together, they guided the old man across. When they reached safety, she did something unexpected. She handed the man her umbrella. Keep it, she said. You will need it more than I do. Then she turned and walked away into the rain. Collins watched her go, unsettled. She hadn't asked for help, hadn't thanked him excessively, hadn't even asked his name, and she never looked back. Minutes later, she arrived at Sterling Heights, drenched by the rain, and as fate would have it, she walked into the elevator, and they met again. A shared glance, a faint smile, recognition, but nothing more. They pressed the same button, 5th floor. When the doors opened, they stepped out together. That was the moment Temilade saw them. She had been waiting near the hallway, adjusting her dress, rehearsing her smile, when the elevator opened and Colin stepped out with Vivian, Something cold formed in her chest, and in her mind, a story formed instantly. She knows him already. She moved faster than everyone. She's trying to take what is mine. From that moment, resentment took roots. Later that day, all staff were summoned. The founder, Chief Adebayo Olowo Okere. "I want to introduce my son," he said. "This is Collins Adebayo. He will be joining us as a co-founder." Applause filled the hall. Vivian clapped politely. Temilade watched closely. She noticed the way Collins' eyes followed Vivian. She did not know Vivian had no idea who Collins was, did not know the meeting had been accidental, did not even know that Vivian hadn't even looked twice at him. All Temilade saw was threats, and obsession sharpened her cruelty. What began as silent opposition turned into deliberate pressure. She assigned Vivian tasks below her role, added impossible deadlines, loaded her with work meant to frustrate, humiliate, and break her. Still, Vivian endured. She worked late at night, no complaints, no confrontations, just excellence. Meanwhile, Temilade transformed herself. New clothes, designer shoes. She laughed louder. She hovered closer to Collins, always ensuring she walked past wherever he stays. But Collins noticed something Vivian would never try, and yet his eyes followed her. He watched her work. He listened more than he spoke, and over time, he noticed something else. Twice during executive reviews, Vivian's name surfaced. Twice, Temilade objected, quietly, smoothly. Collins didn't interfere immediately. He investigated files, records, patterns, 3 years. Consistent excellence, consistent denial, no misconduct, no underperformance. Just one reason: Vivian would not kneel where others knelt. When attention failed, Temilade escalated. A report was altered, an error planted, an accusation prepared, enough to get Vivian fired. But Collins had already been observing. Quietly, he investigated. The truth surfaced, clear and undeniable. Management prepared consequences. Vivian stopped them. "Please," she said calmly, "let's close this case. I do not want her to lose her job." Temilade was summoned to a private meeting with Collins and one of the top managers. Vivian was also present. Temilade was summoned to tender an apology email to Vivian, and all the top managers must be in copy. She did that, and the case was settled quietly. Temilade remained, but something had shifted. At the next promotion review, Vivian's name surfaced again. Temilade objected. This time, Collins spoke. The room fell silent. Vivian was promoted. Not just promoted, but elevated above Temilade. Temilade smiled, but she could not survive under the weight of what she had done. Months later, she resigned. Collins had waited until when he finally approached her. It was not as power, not as privilege, not as the founder's son. It was simply as a man. He spoke gently, honestly, with restraint. Vivian listened calmly, respectfully. Then she told him the truth. She was already engaged. Her wedding was in 2 weeks, and handed her wedding invitation to him. The pain in Collins' chest was quiet but heavy. He loved her, but he loved her integrity even more. He chose not to disrupt her peace or cloud her joy, so he smiled and stepped back. But before she left his office that day, Vivian paused. "I have a friend I have spoken to you about, and she's longed to meet you," she said gently. "I think you should meet." Vivian got married. Time passed. Collins met the friend Vivian had introduced, unexpectedly, naturally, without pressure. What began as courtesy grew into understanding, then affection, and they got married. Life moved forward. Vivian remained the same woman, focused, dignified, excellent, and was moved to a new branch as a branch manager. Years passed, the company grew, expanded, transformed, and when the time came, Vivian was named co-founder, not because of love or sympathy, not because of sentiment, not because of connections or proximity to power, but because long before titles and recognition, she had already earned her place. And in Sterling Heights, people still whisper the lesson: integrity does not shout, it does not compete, it does not beg, but it always arrives. And this is the end of the story. Please follow for more interesting and life-changing stories. Thank you.